Nevis. The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and I am delighted to be back with you after a slight hiatus. I was not here last week, but for good reason, because we had, of course, the Minister of Education, the Junior Minister, the Honourable Youthant Troy Liburd, and with him were his Permanent Secretary, Mr. Barrett, and his PO, Principal Education Officer for Nevis, Miss Zanella Claxton. And we thought it was important to use this platform. We understand that it's a large platform, that we have a wide listenership, and we thought it important to use this platform for the very, very critical information about the reopening of our schools. We will say a bit more about that, I'm sure, as the show goes on, but thus far, the reports that we have had is that things have gone fairly smoothly over the past few days. Of course, Nevis adopted a phased approach where on Monday some of our students were allowed to come to school, and then we staggered the return to school of students over the course of the last few days. I think by today or tomorrow we should have had all students now back in school. And what we're seeking to do, of course, is to test the system as we go. And I am very, very proud of the team. I have commended them publicly. I wish to commend them again. Good leadership from the Honourable Troy Liburd, but also excellent leadership from Mr. Kevin Barrett as the Permanent Secretary, and the ever hard-working PEO, Ms. Zanella Claxton. They've really done a good job here on the island of Nevis, and I believe that we ought to commend them. A lot of people perhaps take it for granted in terms of the level of work that has to go into these matters. Of course, COVID has put us into an entirely new frame, a new paradigm, and they have responded and responded well. As always, I continue to ask our population for their patience. I know that people will get testy at times adjusting to this new normal, but it is all intended to keep us safe. And so we urge you to continue to exercise the necessary patience and the necessary cooperation with us. I also, of course, would like to say good evening to all of our listeners in Nevis, in St. Kitts, in the wider Caribbean, our listeners who are in the United States and Canada. I know we have good friends in places like Kitchener. I would like to say good evening to them. Good evening to my friends there in Villarica in Georgia, and to all of our other friends in Atlanta and elsewhere in Georgia. Good evening to our friends in New York and Boston and Connecticut. Wherever you may be, good evening to you. For those over in the UK, I know people like Jackie, they tend to listen. Even though it's late there, they stay up just to get a taste of the show and a taste of what's happening in Nevis. And I say good evening to all of you. I trust and hope that you are staying safe. And of course, I would want to send my warm greetings from beautiful Nevis, your home. We are here and we're doing well. And we are grateful to be alive despite the challenges that COVID-19 has brought. Now tonight I won't detain you too much longer because we have a very special guest who's with us. She is no stranger. I believe she has been here before. Her name is Shevani Nisbet, and she is one of the very hard-working professionals that we have at the Health Promotion Unit. Now, I know people get tired of hearing me say so, but the Health Promotion Unit, I believe, is one of the better units on the island of Nevis in terms of various departments that we have, and it's certainly head and shoulders above its contemporaries throughout the Caribbean region. I've been very, very impressed with the work that they've done, whether it's HIV/AIDS, whether it's non-communicable diseases, and of course the way that they have sprung into action and continue to act in relation to COVID-19. I believe that it is a part and parcel of the overall effort that the government has taken. We recognize that healthcare is expensive, and that it is more expensive to seek to cure you once you're sick than it is to prevent you from getting sick in the first place. And so we have been practicing for some years now a constant message of living healthier lifestyles, of exercise, of diet, of no smoking, no drinking, no risky sexual behavior. All of those are things that we have continued to preach to encourage our people to stay healthy. And if they stay healthy, then we feel that it prolongs their lives and also delays any morbidity or difficulty that comes with illness. We have established, and I think it is proven, that it is when people get ill that the real cost of healthcare becomes most difficult to bear. And illness has bankrupted many families, it has bankrupted governments, it is a very difficult situation. Take, for example, non-communicable diseases, things like diabetes, hypertension. They both can lead to other conditions, amputations in the case of diabetes. They can lead to renal failure, which then requires dialysis. Dialysis, just to put it in context for our people, most dialysis patients need 3 treatments per week, and at the JNF, where they have a dialysis center, it is $800 EC per treatment. So that translates, just do the math for yourself. 3 treatments per week, $800 per treatment. That's $2,400 per week that you would require if you are a dialysis patient. And so you look at that cost, $2,400 a week times 4 weeks in the month. My math isn't so good, but that is probably close to $10,000 per month. Most people can never afford that. And so the reality is, when you look at that and you start to say, well, what would it have cost me to get up in the mornings and take a walk, a brisk walk for half an hour, to eat properly, to have a proper diet, exercise, and get regular checkups during my life to delay the onset of any difficulty? And I believe that when I put it in that context, you start to understand why prevention, as our elderly folks always used to tell us, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Or as I like to say, $1 of prevention is worth $100,000 of cure. So the Health Promotion Unit, I think, is positioned ideally to continue to seek to educate us, to seek to change lifestyles, and to encourage us to have healthier lifestyles. So with those words, I will hand things over to the very capable Chevon Nisbet, and she's here from the Health Promotion Unit, and she has some information that she would want to impart. She has told me that she will stay with me for about 15 minutes, and thereafter she will leave and we'll get into some other matters. But Chevon, welcome back to On the Mark, and I'm sure that the public is looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you, Mark, and good evening to the listening audience. And I am happy to be here as usual. So, as you said, I'm here to talk about our week of activities, or our events that we have for Caribbean Wellness Week. And most persons on Nevis by now would know that for what the purpose of Caribbean Wellness Week is. But for those who don't know, Caribbean Wellness Week is basically a wellness day. Is a day put on by CARPHA, which is a Caribbean Public Health Agency, and it's created to bring awareness to non-communicable diseases. As we all know, non-communicable diseases is one of the biggest health burdens we have in the Caribbean, and of course in St. Kitts and Nevis. So for non-communicable diseases are stuff like diabetes, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, cancers, heart disease, etc. Basically diseases that you can control via your lifestyle. Some of them are hereditary, but the majority of persons who develop non-communicable diseases is because of their lifestyle, not being active, not eating properly, not drinking enough water, etc. And so every year, to commemorate Caribbean Wellness Day, we come up with a week of activity. This year we have come up with 2 sets of activities, and one is a virtual week of activities, because of course we are adapting the COVID-19 protocols, where most of the stuff you can do virtually, as opposed to being going in large groups where you have to go around persons. You can stay at home and take part in Caribbean Wellness Day still. So we put together a week of activities that are virtual, as well as we have the regular week of activities with events that you can actually come out and participate it in, of course, adopting the COVID-19 protocol. So I'll speak about the virtual week of activities first, and everything that I am speaking about right now, you can have access to this information on both of our social media pages, which would be Facebook, which is Nevis HPU, as well as our Instagram page, which is hpu.nevis. So for this week, from the 7th to the 11th of September, we have our virtual week of activities. So on Monday, we started with Mindful Monday. So Mindful Monday was we use Mindful Monday to give tips on relaxing your mind, indulging in healthy mental activities. And so we had videos and words of encouragement on our Facebook page and our Instagram page in regards to Mindful Monday, for persons to have mental relaxation, so you can enjoy your day. You can do breathing exercises, and these are just some of the things that we posted on the page. The reason for including mental activities in this, because the theme for this year, or the whole idea of Caribbean Wellness, the theme this year was around, having good mental health, especially because of COVID-19. So our theme this year was power through collective action, and the slogan is Stronger Together 2020. So you would see us hashtag a lot of that in our stuff on social media. The second thing was Tasty Tuesday, which was yesterday. Tasty Tuesday, what we did for Tasty Tuesday, we had Chef Michael Henville prepare a dish with using the fruit and vegetable of the week for this week. So persons who follow us on Instagram and Facebook would know that every week we have a fruit and vegetable of the week. So we use those two things to make a healthy dish. And of course, our Chef Michael Henville, he came through as he usually does. We like to thank him for that. And he created a dish. And of course, we taped it and put it up on our Facebook page along with the recipes. So if my memory serves me correct, the dish was a couscous salad with pumpkin, and he used avocado dressing. So the avocado was the fruit of the week for this week, and pumpkin was the vegetable of the week. Today is Water Wednesday, and so in the schools, usually this was implemented, I think, a while ago, where we have Water Wednesday in the schools, where we're asking the schools and the students and the parents to have the children drink water only on Wednesdays. And this has been working out really well, and it was created so we can kind of get the students to lean more towards healthier drinks and beverages such as water or natural juices, but we prefer water, and to kind of come away from the sugar sweetened beverages, which we know have a very bad effect on our health in the long run, especially. So Water Wednesday, we decided to adapt Water Wednesday for the adults and encourage persons to drink more water today. If you usually have a juice for lunch, you drink water alone, and so you're asking persons to take a picture of their water and post it to our Facebook page or tag us in it. And all of us who at the Health Promotion Unit, we did that as well. And so we had to set an example, of course. And so persons can still post to our Facebook page for Water Wednesday. I wanted to see how much water you drink. Now, Testing Thursday, which is tomorrow, the health centers are on board. We are asking individuals to take advantage of the fact that all of our health centers on island offer NCD screening. And NCD screening would be you testing for to see what your blood sugar is, what your blood pressure is. You can also test for your kidneys, what your kidneys are like. And so we want you to be able to know your numbers. Knowing your numbers is important. Even if you were never diagnosed with a non-communicable disease, it is still important for you to know, because there have been instances where persons who know they're not diagnosed with an NCD, but they went to check just because they happened to be in the area when we were doing one of the testing, and they found out they were pre-diabetic or pre-hypertensive, and right then and there you can use that opportunity to now lower your chances of actually getting full-blown diabetes or hypertension. So it's important to know your numbers. And so tomorrow is Testing Thursday, where we're asking individuals to go to your nearest health center and get tested for non-communicable diseases, preferably in the morning, but the health centers are open until 4. For individuals who are interested in doing the blood glucose test, we're asking that you do not eat breakfast or lunch before you go, because it's important to get a fasting reading so it's more accurate. It's a true depiction of what it is. So tomorrow is Testing Thursday. All of the health centers except the Cotton Ground Health Center are participating in Testing Thursday. But if you are usually using the Cotton Ground Health Center, you can go to another health center and get it done still. They won't turn you back because you are accustomed to going to the Cotton Ground. On Friday is Fitness Friday. So Fitness Friday ties into one of our other activities, which is HPUNU, where the staff of the Health Promotion Unit, we will be exercising as a team. This is we're partnering with the Fit Wellness Center at 4:30 on every Friday in September, and we are going live on Facebook so persons can join in with us virtually. And so we're encouraging individuals to get, I know it's a Friday, this is persons, liming day, but just for the month of September, once a week, we're asking you to join us as we exercise at 4:30 on Fridays. So that was our virtual weeks of activities. How does that sound?
Well, it sounds quite interesting. I think that you all have a quite packed week with lots of things to do. I think, however, it's consistent with the theme and the effort that I outlined earlier of the mandate, if you will, of the Health Promotion Unit, which really is to encourage healthier lifestyles.
Right.
And whilst we're doing it for Wellness Day, Wellness Week, as the case may be, clearly we're trying to encourage people to do it as a part of their regular day-to-day lives. So I notice you've mentioned Chef Michael and the cooking,
right,
which is clearly speaking to diet. You've mentioned the exercise, which is also very important, and you've mentioned the being aware of your health status, knowing your numbers, right, which is also critical. So I think if we can make all three a part of our regular routine, our regular day-to-day lives, we would see people living longer and living better quality lives, because sometimes it's not just the number of years but the quality of those years, which is also important. But the one event I look forward to every year is the sneaker day, and there are a lot of people throwing down a lot of challenges this year. I can tell you that today via FedEx I got some sneakers delivered. I'm taking it very seriously this year. I have brand new sneakers. I mean, I don't believe anybody in Nevis ever seen these before, and I'm taking it serious because I believe that some little bubble, this is like an election. This is like campaign time, and I'm campaigning hard to win the sneaker competition on September 11th. So I'll talk to you off camera so you can give me any one little tips as to what I need to do. I need an insider's view as to what I need to do. But I'm serious, I got 2 new pairs of brand new sneakers delivered to me today.
The same what you did last year too.
Last year I don't know what happened, but by the time I reached, I think people were sleeping over at the Health Promotion Unit, honestly, because some people got there at an hour in the morning, which was unconscionable, and they were giving a prize for who got there first. And somebody told me they drove by and they see people coming out wiping their eyes as if they just woken up. So that's why I said I want to know if people are being allowed to sleep there overnight. They're not allowed? So how they reach us so early?
But you got there after 11. So how you expect to win the prize?
But
unless you want us to give a best sneaker prize and you might then win that.
Okay. I think we've got to work on something, because I can't come away empty-handed again. Every year I participate and I don't win anything. I don't get a t-shirt. Nothing at all. So this year I'm really putting out my all. If I don't make it this year, I don't know about next year if I'll be able to do it. But Sneaker Day, another brilliant initiative, and I am looking here at the information that I was provided with, and they said what you need to do on Sneaker Day, which is September 11th. That's Friday.
Yes, so that's part of the week of activities.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about.
So Friday. So you wear your sneakers to work. You take a picture. You add hashtag SneakerDay 2020, hashtag COVID-19, and you post it to Facebook page of the Health Promotion Unit, Nevis. And then they say that you have a school competition for students to showcase their schools in creative ways while wearing their sneakers as well. So you post it on Facebook page with the hashtags, hashtag rep your school, hashtag COVID-19, along with your name and the school you are representing. So we want the children to be involved as well, which is brilliant. But I'm going to be in the adult sections. I'm going to wake up 4 o'clock and post my sneakers, and then we take it from there. So it should be interesting. But the activities, I think the thing that I'm trying to get at is the activities are healthy but also fun.
Yes, Yes.
And that is the idea. And I think that once it's fun, it doesn't appear to be hard work.
Right.
People enjoy it. The walk as well, I believe, is often, always when I've been on the walk, very enjoyable. And just the route of the walk, could you remind us? The walk is going to be on Saturday, this coming Saturday.
Yes, so the walk is on Saturday the 12th, and it starts at 6 a.m. And it starts from the entrance of Yachtsman Grill.
Okay.
It goes along the Island Main Road through Charlestown, and we end at the Villa. As usual, we will have a warm-up exercise, and then the coach would lead, and then we end at the Villa grounds where we have a little bit of exercising and we warm down, and of course we give our prize to the persons who come in. I think we give a prize to the person who comes in first, the eldest person, and stuff like that.
So they're saying here on the flyer, design your own T-shirt or wear one related to health or past Caribbean Wellness Day T-shirt. And the person with the oldest T-shirt wins a prize as well.
The oldest Caribbean Wellness Day T-shirt.
Yes, the oldest Caribbean Wellness T-shirt. So all of this is quite interesting stuff.
Yes.
I'm just curious for my own peace of mind. Who's the coach that will be doing the warm down at the Villa grounds? Is it Mansfield?
This year is not Mansfield.
No, praise the Lord, because the warm down with Mansfield harder than the walk itself.
Lord, don't say that.
I'm telling you, I used to run from the warm down. I would prefer to walk back to Yachtsman from town and do Mansfield warm down.
Mansfield could hear you.
Well, I hope you hear me as well, because I never know, it's so hard to keep my hands up and arms up, arms down. Mansfield is an interesting fellow when it comes to that. So I think that this looks like a very interesting week of activities. I want to commend you and the team at Health Promotion, the team in health generally, the permanent secretary, and the entire cohort of individuals, professionals who continue year after year to deliver value to us in terms of our health and taking care of our health. So thank you very much. I don't know if you have anything else that you would wish to add.
Yes. We also have some other events that are on the actual week of activities, the physical ones. So we have two new events. We have HPU and U, and we have Let Us Tip You. So Let Us Tip You is something that we're doing to get persons more involved in monitoring their health. So it's a card like this. It looks like this for those that are viewing. And so on the front of the card, it has tips that non-communicable diseases, to prevent non-communicable diseases. So for example, eat 5 servings of vegetables every day, have your last meal 3 hours before bedtime, and stuff like that. Reduce the amount of sugar in your diet. And on the back of the card, you have a checklist. So for example, you can say, I ate my 5 servings of vegetables every day this week, and you can tick off the days. And what we want individuals to do is to take a card from our outlets. I'm going to list the outlets. Take a card from one of our outlets, and you can either fill it out when you're in line at the outlet, or you can take it home, and when you're finished filling it out, you take it back to any of the outlets and drop it back in the box. And this is going to be happening for the whole month of September, and every Friday a member of our staff will go and replenish the card with a new set of cards with different tips on it, and you can just take while you're shopping on the weekend or whatever, and then drop it back in the box, preferably before the following Friday. And this will be going on. So if persons who are really participating in this activity, you should have had at least 4 different cards by the end of the first week in October, which will be the last Friday we'll be picking up these cards. And so it's Let Us Tip You. It's just basically tips on non-communicable diseases that we want persons to use to track their basically their lifestyle, so you can be healthier. The outlets for Let Us Tip You will be places like Rams, the Charlestown Post Office, both Best Buy supermarkets, the Alexandra Hospital at the outpatients area, CDS, Food Center, Evelyn's Drugstore, National Bank, Value Mart, Republic Bank, Development Bank, and the Bank of Nevis. And I would like to publicly thank all of these outlets for allowing us to use them as an outlet for the cards. So for example, if you were to take your card from the post office and you fill it out, and you just happen to be in National Bank the following Monday and you have your card, you can drop it in the card at National Bank. It doesn't necessarily have to be the card have to be the box where you took the card from. Then the other new activity would be HPU1U, and this is where we're going to be exercising live on Facebook every Friday as a unit from 4:30, and we're asking individuals to join. on our Facebook page, Nevis HPU, so you can exercise along with us, or you could just watch us exercise. One thing that we didn't mention for Sneaker Day, we usually have our health station on Sneaker Day, where we ask companies, businesses, offices, and throughout the government if you can do a snack station with healthy snacks for your customers and maybe your staff, with fruits or granola bars, yogurt, and bottled water. And this year, you would notice our flyer was a pre-packaged because of the COVID-19. We prefer less handling of things. So if you're going to serve fruits, serve whole fruits like an apple, an orange, things that you can just grab and go. And water should be bottled, and the yogurt, if you're going to serve yogurt, of course, that's something the person can grab and go. So we're trying to have less handling, more sanitation. So that is our health station, and the health stations should be done on the same day of Sneaker Day to commemorate Caribbean Wellness. So this is the business's opportunity to partner with us to encourage healthy lifestyles via a healthy diet, and of course have your sneakers on that day, so you can it encourages you to walk more, get your steps in. So those are the activities that I had listed. I also wanted to ensure that persons who are interested in going on the walk, we would prefer if you were to call the office 469-8010 to register. And but if you do not get a chance to call us and register, it is fine. We will have someone to register you on the morning of. This year, like you mentioned with the t-shirts, we won't be giving away t-shirts or selling t-shirts, but we're asking persons to wear a t-shirt that has something to do with health, or design your own t-shirt, or wear a Caribbean Wellness t-shirt from past years. We're still gonna ask individuals to wear their mask when they're not exercising, to try to social distance as much as possible throughout. Sanitizers will be available, and if it's possible, you can walk with your own water. After and of course after, we're gonna give away, we're gonna be giving prizes, etc., like I mentioned before. So that is our list of activities, and I'm out as always as one of the health educators at the Health Promotion Unit. I am encouraging persons to continue living a healthy lifestyle. If you have not been doing so, try to start. It's not too late to start. Exercise as often as you can. You're supposed to exercise at least 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes. You do that, Mark?
How long?
30 minutes every day?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, me too. For 30 minutes every day, drink as much water as you can in a day, at least 64 ounces. Eat healthy. Your plate should be more colorful, because fruits and vegetables are more colorful than, say, the starch and the meats. Try to cut back on the amount of carbs you eat, and try to be as active as you can. So, eating healthy, exercising, knowing your numbers, and of course drinking a lot of water. I always throw that one in because it's important. And so Caribbean Wellness Day, we're asking everyone for their participation. Come out to your numbers, and then refer to our social media pages for updates, and so you can see the stuff that we've been doing.
Okay. All right. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from Miss Chevenin Nisbet, who has come from the Health Promotion Unit to share some information with us. I think a very exciting week of activities. I'm for sure looking forward to the Sneaker Day. I think that's an activity which the whole island tends to gravitate towards and gets excited about, and especially like the idea of the schools being involved. I think that's excellent. I like the idea that we continue to talk about COVID, even though we're doing activities that we normally do, and that people are still being encouraged to wear their masks, and of course to social distance. It's difficult to wear a mask when one is working out, but certainly outside those times you're required to wear your mask. I will definitely try to be at the walk, so I will say that no to you, and I'm going to try to get the rest of my household to come along with me. So awesome. We should have about 4 of us on that walk. And so we will we look forward to all these activities. I'm really hoping that the public will respond positively and get out, as I like to say, get up, get out, get moving.
Right.
It's very important. And then when you get up, get out and get moving, don't go home and eat a big plate of rice and chicken, but also, as you say, try to make your plate a bit more colorful. You have to eat properly,
right,
and in right portions as well. Because as someone has explained to me, there's nothing that is inherently bad with carbs or with rice or with any of that once it's in moderation and you do it in the right portions. Equally, there's nothing wrong per se with alcohol if, again, it's in moderation. It is when we overdo things that we run ourselves into difficulty. And if we could do without it, like alcohol, then of course it's better not to. Okay, so thank you, Ms. Nesbitt. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, get home safely. And thank you for all the hard work that you and the team have been doing.
And thanks for your support as always.
Okay, all right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark. We are going now into our next 90 minutes of the show. This is a 2-hour show. And of course, we have spent just a half an hour with Ms. Chevany Nesbitt from the Health Promotion Unit, who came to educate us and to speak to us about Caribbean Wellness Week and the activities, a very exciting list of activities that will be happening here on the island of Nevis. We're very grateful to her and to her team for the really incredible work that they continue to do, and so we will continue to work with them. Now, I have another announcement to make, and this is for the young people on the island of Nevis. There is the U.S. Embassy Bridgetown and the CARICOM Youth Ambassadors are collectively presenting a professional development virtual series. Note this date. It will be Monday, September 14th. Monday, September 14th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. It should be dealing with various things, but one is important. The most important, is resume writing. Succinct and successful resume writing. And the people who will be talking to you on the panel, Leland Lazarus, who's the Deputy Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Bridgetown, Barbados. He'll moderate. We have Jamila Hollingsworth, who's the founder of HR Boss. And then we have our own Dwayne Hendrickson, our CARICOM Youth Ambassador from St. Kitts and Nevis. Dwayne, of course, is a brilliant young man from Brownhill. And I am very, very proud that Dwayne is a part of this, and he will be one of your panelists on this very important professional development series. So please again note the date, Monday, September 14, 2020, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. is just an hour. And Dwayne Hendrickson, our own CARICOM Youth Ambassador from the metropolis of Brownhill, he will be there. Jamila Hollingsworth, the founder of HR Boss, she'll be there. And the moderator is Leland Lazarus, the Deputy Public Affairs Officer, U.S. Embassy, Bridgetown, Barbados. Now, who's this for? I am advised that this is for anybody, but more specifically is geared to persons, particularly young persons who might be unemployed and would like to use the time to brush up on their resumes. Because remember, as I said, this is dealing with resume writing. They're telling you how to write your resume so it captures the attention of potential employers. So if you're unemployed or you just want to brush up on your resume writing skills, this is excellent for you. School leavers are particularly encouraged to take part. And as I said, we have an expert panel, including our own Dwayne Hendrickson, who will be a part of it. Now, it will be streamed live via the Barbados U.S. Embassy Facebook page. So, you go on the Facebook page for the U.S. Embassy on Monday the 14th between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. and you can be a part of this very important series on how to brush up your resume and do a good job of it. And so we thank those who are participating. We thank and commend Dwayne Hendrickson, our own from Brownhill, as a CARICOM Youth Ambassador. And this is a partnership between the CARICOM Youth Ambassador and the U.S. Embassy in Barbados. We thank the United States for its continued involvement and continued commitment to the development of our countries and the relationship that we have enjoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark. It is 25 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and I'm going to open the lines now and allow you, if you have something to say, to call in at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the lines to call, and the calls are already started, so let's go straight to the phones. Good evening, you're On the Mark. Hello?
Good evening, Miss Sheriff.
Good evening to you, my dear. How are you?
I am doing good so far. I want to thank the people them who was looking out asking for me. Tell them I said to them, thank them very much. The Lord is having me here for a reason.
Absolutely.
And I will try my best again to see how I can get through.
Yes.
Second, sympathy is going out to everybody who loses their loved one. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1 and 2. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and unholy. Good night. May God continue to bless.
Thank you very much, and may God bless you as well. Thank you for the scripture. I always tell people that this is a task that you took upon yourself. You were never asked to do it. This was your effort at contributing to the conversation and to the nation, and you have done it for years and years. And yes, you were missed, and I know why you were not able to, but I'm happy that things have improved and that you're back with us. And certainly I know once you can get in each week, you will have a scripture for us. It's interesting you say we're in perilous times, because with COVID-19, I suppose some will say that the Bible, which of course we ought all to pattern our lives after, that the Bible is coming to pass, that these things that have been foretold are indeed coming to pass, because we are indeed in perilous times, and it behooves us all to find a way to deal with those perilous times. And one proven way is certainly to go back to that very important book that you have just read from, and to see what it tells us about what we need to do with our lives in order to combat and to outlive these perilous times in which we find ourselves. And so thank you very much, caller, and I trust and hope that you continue to feel well and that your health continues to improve. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hey, good night.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, okay, right? I ain't listening right now because I had a radio, right? Now somebody got with it. But I ain't got a problem. I still got a problem now to call in and say, hear up a happy birthday to my people in Singapore. And I won't call my partner in America, right? And tell him to be the radio for me. I like to listen to these programs.
Okay.
So, may God bless me.
All right. Good. Yes, God bless you as well. All right. Thank you very much. The numbers again are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the back to school. I think all of us have been waiting for this back to school activity. One of the things that is associated with back to school is that it was only yesterday that we received 100,000 masks from the Medical University of the Americas. I thanked them yesterday. I want to go on record as thanking them again for this incredibly generous donation. The donation is valued, we are told, at $50,000 US, 100,000 masks. These are single-use masks, and what we've decided to do is to make a portion of those masks available to our schools. The idea behind this is just as we did with churches when they were reopening, is that the principals should have a stock of masks in their offices, and those masks, the idea is really that when children or sometimes teachers may come to school and might have forgotten their mask at home, then we could provide a mask for them so that they don't have to be turned back and be sent back home, bearing in mind that the protocols now require all children over the age of 6, I believe, to wear a mask even at school. And so the idea is not to supply masks to students and teachers, because we expect that students and teachers will have their mask that they will wear. We, of course, as a government, have gone house to house in Nevis, and I'm very proud because I'm told that we're the only government in the region that has taken that initiative, where we distributed thousands and thousands of masks. These are washable and reusable masks. Went house to house, and every adult in Nevis was given a mask. And so we were able to do that, and we're very proud of that legacy and that record. And so people have masks that were provided by the government. There are lots of masks that were being done by local entrepreneurs and were being sold. And so these masks to the schools is really a backup, if you will, an opportunity so that the principals have what they need, so that, like I said, if a teacher or student or auxiliary staff or to forget their mask at home, they don't have to be turned back. So that's really the idea behind it. And I will tell you it works, because I showed up at the Methodist Church in Gingerland some weeks ago for an event. And it is only as I got to the door, I felt in my pocket for my mask and realized that I had completely left it on my kitchen table at home. And I was about to turn back to go home, and the lady there said, no, Mr. Brandley, we can give you a mask. And lo and behold, it was one of the very masks that the government had supplied to the churches. And so I turned out to be a beneficiary of that policy, and I'm very grateful that we're in a position through the Medical University of the Americas to do this. And so we will be doing that. The cabinet is very supportive of that idea, and we will be seeking to ensure that all of the schools in Nevis are covered. The primary and secondary schools are covered. So thank you very much to MUA. Thank you to the owners, the board. Thank you to Dr. Crum, who is the dean. I think that it was a very generous effort on their part, and for that we are truly grateful. Many of our corporate personalities have stepped up in a major way here in Nevis. During the height of this COVID pandemic, we had people providing lunches, pizza, you name it. People stepped up, and we really saw that sense of community, which is so critically important to the people of Nevis. And so we thank them for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward to the reopening of borders. A specific date has not yet been set, but we have been advised that it will be in October. And so we are putting things in place. We are getting ourselves ready. We are hopeful that our hotels will reopen in October as well, or sooner. We are hopeful that we can get our people back to work. We are hopeful that because we have managed this crisis in such a good way, that we will see more people being interested in coming to us, a safe environment to have their holidays. But we all understand that it's not business as usual. And so I continue to encourage our people to be vigilant. I continue to encourage our people to understand that COVID and the nature of COVID is that people continue to be what they call asymptomatic, which means they don't show any symptoms, but are still able to spread the disease. And so it's important that we continue to be vigilant, that we not relax, that we continue to wear masks when in public or around other people, that we continue to wash hands as we've been taught, that we continue to social distance, cough and sneeze into our elbow. All of those things are still practices that we must continue to take. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night to you, and I will be putting back.
Yes, good evening to you. How can I? Good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, blessed brother. Man, not too bad, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I like how you outlining these things, you know, especially in mass business, and you say that you get so much mass that all this school in Nevis could get mass, you know, because it's important, because that is what the Taiwanese them do to combat this corona. Because this corona, it ain't easy. And down here, people still playing careless. But I just hope the people in Nevis doing what they're supposed to do, taking your advice. Because, Mark, let me tell you something. When all is said and done, when the borders are open up, as you say, just now, right, October, right, I know that you're the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you go out there and you get things done, and we don't know who going to come here with it or whatsoever. And I just calling on the people of this federation to get a norm to this mass. Because, let me tell you something, school open right now.
Mm-hmm.
And just imagine, Mark, you go home from work, or you meet some kind of friend come in, and you go and mingle with them. When you go mingle with that friend, and you go home to train them, the trainer must get in the school, yeah? Because the school safe, nothing in the school. But if you maybe the parents or some family member, friend might come in and bring in that deadly corona there, and then the whole home gets contaminated, and when you're not going to school with it, and then it just break out in the school.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to advise to the people tonight, and Mark, you are doing a wonderful job, and continue to do what you got to do.
Thank you, brother.
Blessed brother.
Okay, appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, some more good news. I just spoke about the virtual series that will be have a participant in Dwayne Hendrickson from Brown Hill as our Commute Ambassador. Well, we have a young, I call him celebrity. He doesn't like me when I use that word, but we have a very young, incredibly talented young man called Casey Jeffers, who's a photographer here in Nevis. Casey hails from the St. James's area, and he started out as a model but has transitioned to the other side of the camera. And he has been in New York. He has done quite a few shoots, and I like Casey's style. He's an understated type of individual, but incredibly talented. Well, Casey has come up with a new book that he has published called Uniforms, and it is an incredible look through his lens at the uniforms that we wear at our schools here. And on the 11th, Friday, September 11th at 4 p.m., we are going to have Casey being in a conversation with Darius Himes. Darius Himes is International Head of Photographs at Christie's, and they're going to be having a live session on Instagram at Darius Himes. That is at DARIUSHIMES. That starts at 4 p.m. on September 11th, and basically they'll be discussing Casey's new book, Uniform. And the uniform, it is said here, is his series of portraits of Nevisian children in their regulation garb, shot in situ at Nevis's 14 schools. In situ just means it's shot at the schools. I just want to take the opportunity to congratulate Casey, another young Nevisian who is putting Nevis on the map globally, not just regionally, globally, internationally. And this is what we want for our people. We want our people to aspire. Not a soul could limit your aspirations. Not a soul could tell you that this is too big or too important for you. Aspire to be whatever you want to be. And I've said so in the past. You want to be a chemist, aspire to that. A doctor, lawyer, builder, interior decorator, photographer, prime minister, governor general, whatever you want to be. Let nobody tell you that you cannot aspire to what you want to be. Live out your dreams. Dream big. Here's Casey, a youngster from St. James. Went to school right here in Nevis. But he had a vision for what he wanted. He wanted to be a photographer. And he wanted to be not just a photographer, maybe for his family, taking pictures. He wanted not just to be a photographer locally. He wanted to be an international person. And here he is. You hear who's interviewing him? The head of photographs at Christie's. This is, I believe, what we need to do to encourage our young people to reach for the stars, to aspire for greatness. Too long, Nevisians have been told, I must sit back, I must sit at the back of the bus. If you raise your head above the parapet, somebody gonna knock it off. Know your place. Certain things are out of your reach. And I'm saying, forget about all them old stupidness there. Them, they're like old wives' tales. Be what you want to be. Work hard, have ambition, and aspire to what you want to be. Right? Now let nobody tell you can't be a millionaire if that's your aspiration. Let nobody tell you can't own a home if that is your aspiration. Aspire to what you want to be. That for me is very important. And I've said as Premier of Nevis, if there's one thing and one thing only that people remember me for, I want it to be that. That I encourage our people to aim big, to aspire, and to let no man or woman limit your aspirations, to tell you what you can't do. Because the great people in this world defied sometimes the criticisms and the fight down that they get from others, and sought to build themselves and to aspire for greatness. And that is why I'm so proud of people like Dwayne and Casey, and I could put a laundry list of people out there who are punching well above what we normally see for Vision, who are saying, listen, I'm going to make my mark not just locally, not just federally, not just regionally, I'm going to make my mark internationally. And that is why we have to represent when we get up to speak in whatever forum. We must represent when we get up to take our photograph, to exhibit our art, to sing our songs, to whatever we are going to do. We must operate at the highest possible standard. There's no notion now, oh, it's a Nevis thing, so this is local. No. We must aspire and we must excel. And so I feel very, very proud of our youngsters. And Casey, congratulations, brother. I know you well. You have done an incredible job. In fact, I tell people I don't take good pictures, but the best photograph I've ever seen of myself was taken by Casey. And he is a phenomenal, phenomenal talent. And I hope that he continues from strength to strength. So on the 11th at 4 p.m. you can tune in. He will be on Instagram Live with Mr. Himes, Darius Himes, who is the head of photograph section at Christie's. See that? International. That's what we're talking about. Rising above and punching above our weight. It is 10 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls on 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Now, some interesting things have been happening. Just to update on a few things, the cabinet of the Nevis Island Administration has met and considered, and we have approved that the former premiers will now be able to access a duty-free vehicle, a vehicle free of duties and taxes every 5 years. We thought that it was a respectful thing to do. We only have two former premiers in the persons of the Honorable Joseph Parry and the Honorable Vance Emery, and both would be entitled, if they so desire, to apply under this new policy. Why did we do that? I gather there was some chatter about it, but we did it because we think that oftentimes when persons come and they serve, once they have served, they're forgotten. But service does require, I think, that we accord them a level of respect for what they would have done whilst they were in office. And I certainly feel that both gentlemen are deserving, and the cabinet unanimously would have agreed that we put a policy in place. It is perhaps regrettable that there was no policy in place all these years, because permanent secretaries, for example, get duty-free, current ministers will get duty-free, but people who served at the highest level as premier, there was never anything in place for them. And so I'm delighted that this cabinet, constantly thinking, constantly seeking how we could do better, has done that. I also want to say that on, I believe it was Friday of last week, I had a meeting with the parliamentary representative of the opposition, the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons. I would want to salute the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons this evening to say that I was very impressed with the maturity that she brought to that meeting, the candid nature of our discussion. We had a very open discussion, and she was very interested in knowing what the challenges were. I think that as the elected representative of the people of the great parish of St. Thomas's, she has every right to know, and I certainly took the opportunity to inform her about the reopening of schools, about the difficulties that the island was facing in terms of our financial and economic situation, and I did not hold back. I think she's entitled to know, and I had a good meeting with her. At the end of the meeting, we took a photograph. I'm told that that photograph went viral, and you know, it's interesting. The fact that it went viral perhaps speaks to how much work we have to do. Let me say that again. The fact that the photograph of the parliamentary opposition and myself went viral speaks to the amount of work that we have to do, because I don't know why people would find it strange, unusual, peculiar that the government and opposition are meeting. That should be a normal thing, and I committed to the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons that I certainly will try to make it a regular intervention, a regular interaction between herself and me, because I think it's important that she's informed and she has ideas that she may wish to share in terms of saying, well, this is how we can do what we're doing better. I have said all the time that despite the charges and attacks that I bear almost on a daily basis, my position has always been that I, nor anybody in the cabinet, nor anybody in the CCM party has a monopoly on ideas. We do not have all the answers to every problem. We have policy prescriptions that we come up with, but even the best intended policy prescriptions sometimes lead to some difficulty. They may end up not quite working as we would have liked. So it is important that we be open, not only to the criticisms and attacks that come, and they come daily, but also to be open to the constructive discussions and interactions. It is not always that somebody says they don't agree that you must see them as somehow the enemy. Sometimes in them saying they do not agree affords you an opportunity to reflect, and sometimes you end up agreeing with them, that them not agreeing with you was perhaps the better position. So I want to commend young Cleone. I think we had a good interaction. I think that she came, I believe she had the right approach in terms of asking, and not only asking but offering her own ideas and suggestions, and I would want to publicly say that I enjoyed the interaction, and I look forward certainly to more such interactions. We are at the end of the day one Nevis, and I said it in my maiden speech. I know it created some consternation, but we must govern as one Nevis. There will be a time for elections, and I want our people to understand that part of our maturity and our growth is that during the election cycle we will fight for every seat that's on offer. I want all my candidates to win. They call me the campaigner in chief because I intend to campaign, and to campaign aggressively. I will bring the issues, and my party will bring the issues. We will make the case that we are the better party to govern the affairs of Nevis, not because we say so, but because we have demonstrated it over the years. But at the end of the day, when the people have voted and the dust is settled, we can't continue in campaign mode. We have to govern. And there's a transition, there's a switch that you must make. You must switch from the campaign to governance. And I believe that the difficulty that we've experienced at the highest levels of leadership throughout the region, and perhaps throughout the world, is that many people are unable to make that transition and to understand that the campaign that was yesterday is now over, and governance is now what we ought to be concerned about. And my style of governance is that my door is open, and whoever has ideas and has a contribution to make is welcome. If you come to make noise, then I will ignore the noise. But if you come in a genuine way to say, listen, here are my concerns, here's the contribution that I would wish to make, then I would be prepared to sit and to listen, because I'm the premier for everybody. Not just for some, for everybody. We don't pick out when we're doing a policy. We say, listen, these are the people. If people come, young people want to help to go off and study, we don't ask for who's their mother, who's their father, who they support. That is not my government. We look at people at their merits and we make decisions accordingly. Now, is it something that is ahead of its time? I don't think so. I think Nevis has been crying out for that level of leadership, that quality of governance for a long time. And we in this great CCM party are seeking to deliver on that promise where we say our people matter most. And that is what we've been seeking to do, to deliver on that promise, to ensure that as we work, we ensure that our people are the epicenter of all that we do. Now, I've heard the foolish, inane, asinine, nonsensical, dumb argument being put out there by some people I think have sense. You know what the argument is? They say CCM. Well, let me not even say CCM. They say Mark Brantley is good at winning elections, but he can't govern. That's the argument. And the kind of people who say they spend time behind the schoolhouse door, you would think that they would take a time and engage their brain before they engage their mouth, and to consider what it is they're saying. They say we're good at winning elections, but we can't govern. Well, who vote in elections? Is that the people? Well, when you govern, who you govern for? Is that the same people? You see what I love about democracy, ladies and gentlemen? With all its difficulties, and there are many, with all its shortcomings, and there are many, the abiding bedrock principle of democracy, and the democracy that we practice in a robust way here on the island of Nevis, is that every election, Tut Mun Saman Bagay has an opportunity to mark the paper of the government. They have an opportunity to consider both sides and to make a choice. They have an opportunity to say whether they are satisfied with the governance that the party in office is giving, and when they are not satisfied, as they have demonstrated in the past, they have an opportunity to change course and to go with somebody else. I said that to say this, that if you have a logical mind, let me not put it so kindly, if you have any sense in your head, you should understand that no party could continue to win and win and win and win at the polls. No leader can continue to win and win and win at the polls unless the people are satisfied that they have been given the chance to govern and that they are governing in a way satisfactory to the people. It may not be satisfactory to you. It may not be satisfactory to every individual. But it's satisfactory to the majority of people because our democratic system that we practice, our participatory electoral process that we practice says that it is the majority of electors who determine who governs. So put it differently. Mark Brantley became the Premier of Nevis in 2017, December 18th, 2017 to be precise. And I not only won the election, but we won 4 seats. Only the second time in the history of CCM that has happened. And we went into government. 3 years later, we went back to the polls on June 5th, 2020 for a federal election. Leader again, Mark Brantley. We now won all 3 seats in Nevis federally, the first time in history of CCM it has ever happened. First time. And by the largest margins that we've ever had in Nevis. So you're trying to tell me that the people of Nevis elected me and my government in 2017. They had 2.5, 3 years of governance that they could look to. They came in 2020, the 5th of June, and they give us all the seats. Well, that isn't them saying, you're doing a good job and so we will want you to continue. I mean, when we make these foolish statements about people good at winning election but can't govern, we are in fact insulting the intellectual capacity of our electorate. Because ultimately in free and fair elections, and I've heard nobody complain that our elections have not been free and fair. The last election we had some bubble was 2011 when we had that big black fox down in Cox. And since we took him out of the equation, the system has been running smoothly since. So, the fact that people vote for you is an endorsement of their confidence in you as a candidate, as a leader, as a representative, and as somebody who they have chosen to govern their affairs. Put differently, it's a mark of confidence in their respect for your governance. So I think sometimes when our so-called educated people talk, they must consider common sense is not something you necessarily learn in school. You learn bookwork there. But it's good to combine the two, you know. Because the degrees and all of that, that's good. That's useful. But to have a little common sense where you say things and you appreciate what it is you're saying. Because you cannot say that somebody is good at winning elections because they keep winning, but they're poor at governance. Because in so doing, it means that you're saying the electorate doesn't know what they're doing. And I have always said the voice of the people is the voice of God. And I respect the voice of the people. When they're ready, they will tell me, Mark Brantley, not you anymore. And I will go. I'm hopeful that I go before they tell me so. Because I am not like some who want to stick around until I'm Methuselah. No. Nobody left Nevis in a will for me. I'm prepared to do my job and exit stage left and allow the young people to come in. That is why I'm so happy that CCM now has a youth arm. Vibrant young people coming into the party. Because those are the people who will be taking the stage in short order. So let us, when we're having this discussion, understand the points and understand good sense so that we can make good arguments. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 5 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls, 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's go to the phones and see who wants to talk to us. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, brother.
I just want to take a light moment with you. I've been listening to you from the start of the program.
Yes.
Sounds like another election here. And I'll leave it at that.
you know, at the convention. Call, are you there? Okay. Call at the CCM convention. I said something which apparently generated some fake controversy. I say fake because sometimes when people start to talk, you have to examine the motives. But I said that I'm asking our party to be vigilant and to be always at the ready. Because nobody knows when the bell will ring. The bell can be rung at any time, so be vigilant. Be at the ready. These are comments that one would naturally make at a convention where the party faithful are there. People must stay ready. So you say I sound like I'm in election mode or it sounds like an election. An election is always in the air. But I can assure you that at this point, I'm concerned about COVID. I'm concerned about keeping our people safe. I'm concerned about restarting the Nevis economy. I'm concerned about the welfare and well-being of the people of Nevis. And yes, I'm also concerned about the politics because I'm a politician. And put in a leadership position where I have to govern, but also keep an eye on what is happening out there in the political arena. So I'm doing all of those things. It's called multitasking. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, brother.
You see, the same thing you was just saying about people saying you could win, but you can't govern. All you was doing was explaining, responding to the, and this is the same reaction from this fella. As if you're going for election. All you was doing was just thinking to what the guy said, what the people say. That's all.
Well, thank you for that. And yes, you're right. I mean, it's just a question of seeking to make it clear what the position is. And I think that, that's important because you have these suggestions that are made. And sometimes from whence they come, they sound sensible because you say the people should have sense. But when examined, you realize that it's really nonsense because no electorate, and let me emphasize this, no electorate in a free and fair election, no electorate in a free and fair election will continue to vote for people in whom they have no confidence. No electorate in a free and fair election will vote for people who cannot govern. And for you to suggest otherwise means that you are accusing the electorate of being ignorant and foolish. And I never do that because the voice of the people is the voice of God. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello? Caller, good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, that caller isn't there, so we'll wait. Callers, please, when you call, be patient with us. 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. So, let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night again to the Honorable Premier Mark Bratney.
Yes, good evening to you.
Yeah, Mr. Politics here. Now, Mark, on the different administration, I think they had it from NRP 1980, and they deliver for Nevis. You understand? Because lot of situation is what now in the Farmer Labor Administration, right? When sometimes a new ambulance come and your fire truck come and all one go up to Nevis. You understand? But Brother Mark, I tell you plain. Now Dr. Douglas was here for 20 years and Nevis was just suffering, punishing with NRPD in government. Wasn't looking out for nothing for Nevis. And I commend you to look out for Nevis. You understand? But the unity government get in now with 2015 with you, Dr. Harris, and the leader, Mr. Sean Richard. And you all come together and form this unity. The people of the movement, PLP, and Remark. And we shall get what they're supposed to get, whether they share, whether the SIDF are nothing. I mean, was not getting nothing. And I believe that a comment towards this unity government because Nevis never pay attention to under any the federal administration like now. You understand, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that. I believe that this unity, I would like to see work for the balance of an internal term. You understand? Because I believe that no individual political party in this federation could take care of Nevis. Look how this unity government has taken care of Nevis with what we went ever. You understand? We are in that situation with the COVID. Everybody know that. You understand? Dr. Harris is a capable man. He was in government for maybe 18 years with Dr. Douglas in the administration. He's a good finance minister. He is a doctor of economics. And I believe that God has sent him there to be the right man to look over this federation of St. and Nevis. Because, let me tell you, Mark, in spite of whatever, people screw and nail people driving, a division they want to make between these people. No man is an island. Because we had almost a dictator there. Had a motion and a confidence for 2 years and something. And we go up on different talk shows and when we call in, people were supporting him, backing him up. And all of at once now, everything this government is doing wrong. You understand? So I want to commend this unity government still. And listen, Mark, in spite of whatever the negative you hear, and whatever, who is ever thinking about to support this unity, I will, Mr. Politics, we like to see this unity go on. Because I suffer under all the individual parties them who in government. And I do not think that the people in St. Kitts and Nevis never get a political attention from the government until this unity government comes. Brother Mark, you have a wonderful night. God bless.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And, you know, I will agree with you to the extent that you say that no government has really, in my view, made as much as an effort as the Team Unity government has made. The Team Unity government, of course, in its first dispensation, comprised 4 seats from the People's Action Movement, 2 seats from the Concerned Citizens Movement, and 1 seat from the People's Labour Party. We have now come 5 years later, and we now comprise 3 seats from the Concerned Citizens Movement, 2 seats from the PLP, and the same 4 seats from the People's Action Movement. So clearly the people have seen something. As a division, and speaking as the Premier of Nevis, I agree that Team Unity has made the best effort out of any team, any government that we have seen in terms of addressing some of these issues, and particularly what is important to the people of Nevis, the imbalance that really, no matter how people twist and turn it, the facts are there. It is self-evident that the Federation over the years has functioned in a particular way, and the island of Nevis has been left out. It has been left out of the monies that came in through the SIDF, the monies that came in through passport processing fees under the Citizenship by Investment program. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars that came into Bastia from this program, and the people of Nevis were left out. The difficulty I have, Mr. Politics, is some seem to feel that when one speaks about these matters, that one is somehow being divisive or creating confusion. I don't subscribe to that view. If a shoe is squeezing somebody's foot and they bawl out, "Oi!" you shouldn't say you shouldn't bawl out because the shoe squeezing their foot. And the people of Nevis have suffered for years and suffered quietly with dignity. They have not been sometimes prepared to agitate. Well, I am not that division. I am not that division. The Lord has given me a mouth with an English tongue in my head, and where necessary I will speak. And that is all that I'm saying, that the people of Nevis must no longer be quiet or quelled or anything. They must stand up and say, hey, we are equal members, equal citizens, entitled to the full fruits of our citizenship. Nobody better than us. Nobody better than us. We are not better than anybody either. That is what equality of citizenship is all about. And if you by accident of birth are born in halfway tree and your sister by accident of birth is born in Hanley's Road, it ought not to matter in terms of your aspirations and your ability to get the fruits of your citizenship. That is the point that I seek to make and continue to make. And some get offended when that point is made, because just like in America, the black man gets up and says, listen, this situation isn't fair. It is not working out in an equitable way. And people say, oh, be quiet. Because a black man became president, and therefore because he became president and nothing more, black people must not speak up about things that they consider to be unfair. And I'm saying it cannot be that. Just like black people in America say we are Americans entitled to the full fruits of our citizenship, so the people of Nevis are saying we are citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis entitled to the full fruits of our citizenship. And yes, Unity has done more than any other party. Unity has done more than any other government or any other construct. But we ought not to pat ourselves on the back and say the work is done. The work is ongoing. That is all. Nobody should get vexed for that. And if people get vexed for that, then I'm sorry, because that will continue to be the position of Mark Brantley until I'm on exit stage left. And I'm already, of course, on my way there. But until then, and even after I've exited stage left, if I have breath and can speak, I will continue to speak up for the people of Nevis. Because no matter what people tell me, and I have friends all across the Federation, and some said to me, man, things better now than they were. And I said, yes, that is correct. But are things where they should be? There's work to be done. And I ought not to see any difficulty with anybody pointing out the obvious, that there's work to be done. And that work must be continuing. And we must publicly, privately, and in every forum say that work has to be done, and say what we are doing to address those imbalances. Because it's important. It's very important. And we need to now get to a stage where every time we are taking decisions, we think nationally. You know, sometimes, and let me just say this, because I'm a plain speaker. Sometimes I hear high officials speaking at the federal level. And they say things like, in the country of St. Kitts, or we here in St. Kitts are this, or we here in St. Kitts are that. And I'm continually having to remind people, listen, your country is St. Kitts and Nevis. It may sound simple to some, it may even sound trite to some. But what it does, it betrays an entrenched thinking and entrenched behavior that people need to get out of. If we're ever to get to a point where we see our country as one. I go as Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis all the time. My colleagues at CARICOM will tell you that anytime they refer, you know, you put up your they have the place markers on the table with your name on it, and you put it up if you want to speak, and they call on me and they say the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts, and me and answering them, and they look at me, the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts, me and answering them, because I'm the Foreign Minister of St. Christopher and Nevis. And I tell them all the time, I don't come from St. Kitts, I come from the island of Nevis. So if you're addressing where the island is from, well, certainly you can say the man from St. Kitts, because that's he, but that's not me, because I Hanley's Road me born and Brownhill me rear. So when you come time to address me, you will say the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And they get to the point now where they understand that very well. Because in the past they say St. Kitts and whoever they talk, but me ain't talking for that, because I don't come from St. Kitts. I'm the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is, it may sound simple, but it is what we are saying to our people. You must change that thinking. When an opportunity arises, and I've been there, I've heard it, I've seen it. Oh, where from? He's from Nevis? Oh. What the hell does it matter if he's from Nevis? What does it matter if he's the best person for the job? What does it matter if he's from St. Paul's, if he's the best person for the job? And we have to get ourselves to that stage. Otherwise, we will never, at any point in the country, be able to harness all the resources of our country and put all of our people to work collectively for the development of the country. You hear me in Nevis meeting with the opposition? It's not because I turn NRP or I'm NRP now. It's because I believe that whatever ideas the opposition might have, if they're prepared to bring them to the fore, we put them to work for the people of Nevis. And as I said to young Cleon, nobody knows what the future holds. And she may, in the fullness of time, be sitting where I'm sitting now. I don't know. And if she's doing that, I would hope that the CCM, with its ideas, would also come and say, this is what we are suggesting you can do. And I'm hopeful that individuals like her would take that on board. That is how you build a country. And so I don't apologize for being available and being interested and being capable of speaking up for the people of Nevis, who for too long have been told that they must stay in the back of the bus. Too long. I am not shy about that. And as I say, that ought not to cause any discomfort among people of goodwill who understand that we have an obligation to all the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. All. Not some, but all. Let me go back to the phones if there's a caller. No. 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you would like to be a part of the show. And so, for those who are out there who are listening, I'm getting some greetings that say that people up at MEMS are listening. Good night, MEMS and the whole team up there. One of my favorite places to be and to hang out. Good evening to you. Good evening, of course, to my dear friend Ursula. She just said me that they're listening in the City of Gold, Villarica, in Georgia. And if I could speak like a Georgian, I would say something, using that southern drawl, but I'm not able to. So, good evening to you. And wherever you are, thank you for the messages. It warms my heart that so many people around the world listen to this show every Wednesday. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
Good night to you.
Good night, happy independence.
Same to you when it comes.
You sound a bit on the soft side. Anyway, tonight I was listening to the presentation for the Prime Minister's speech. You know what the correct name?
The Prime Minister lecture series?
Right, and I heard two young divisions. I was quite impressed with the young lady. They said she was a member of the winning David Island debating society thing.
What was her name? Do you know?
I don't remember her name. You did not get to see it, or you didn't hear. Listen.
No, I was obviously
Hello?
here.
What did you say?
I said no, I did not listen. I wasn't able to.
Oh, and then one of them sang. It was quite good. The young fella, he was quite good too, and Archibald. Archibald is up from Hanley Road. His grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah, now I understand what you are saying. Right? I to myself, some of these things, situations that we discuss, can be sorted out. You have a financial secretary, and there is one in St. Kitts. And the procedure, I am sure you know, both of them could get together and do the calculation. Have you ever thought of that? Because that's how it used to be done, when you used to have the two brothers, the Lawrence, Wendell and his next, and his brother.
And what was the outcome of that?
Hello?
What was the outcome of when Wendell and his brother were there?
I'm just telling you that sometimes we used to turn out that Nevis used to owe St. Kitts.
Nevis used to owe St. Kitts? Okay.
You never heard that before?
No, but I listened to you. Go ahead.
You could, because the procedure, I was even talking, Mr. Bacchus was asking me about it. And I said to myself, if we go that route, have your financial secretary meet with the one for down here and do the calculations and everything, and so you could see. So when you are negotiating, you have an idea as to what you could get, what is it you're entitled to. Because you could say, I'm entitled to, and somebody give you something. It may be less than. You follow? Now, you made a statement there. I quite agree with you. When you speak, people shouldn't take it so. But what you know the local politics. As I said to some who can't get in the front door, trying to use your discourse, hopefully to get into the window or the back door. That's what it boils down to, you know. It is not people are so interested, people who are here to lobby on your behalf. They're not so interested in the outcome. What they want is to see the unity break up so they could get fresh elections that way. Because it is quite obvious when I hear certain people calling you, you know.
But caller, let me ask you a question. Why would unity break up? Unity was formed.
And I did not say unity break. I said,
no, but I'm asking you a question. Trying to ask you a question. And this is
some people.
This is hello caller.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
trying to ask a question. This is the way I'm phrasing the question. Why would unity break up, or why should anybody have a fear that unity will break up? When unity, caller, please, caller, can I ask the question and then you answer?
Yes, you ask the question, so I am rephrasing it.
Well, you can't rephrase my question. It's my question. I'm asking you, why would unity break up, or anyone have a fear of unity breaking up? When unity was formed, let me say that, unity was formed to address these problems. That is why we got into unity, you know.
I understand.
So,
but I am sure you're quite aware. You are quite aware, I am sure, of the intention and the objective of the opposition. I mean,
caller, I have zero interest in the intention and objective of the opposition.
Where you better be.
I am saying to you that I was there when the bones of unity were put together.
I know all of that.
Right?
Yeah.
I was the person who drafted the Charleston Accord. Many people don't know that. And so I understand what unity was about and is about. So I don't know that people should have any fears about unity, because
the word is not fear. I said the word is desire.
Yeah, but whether the desire what, because you could the opposition could desire all they want.
You remember I said to you some long time ago. You notice the target. You were the target. It wasn't an idle move. You examine and you see who you could take out. They figure, well, look, Mark might be the easier one to take out. So they targeted you before. Now they did not succeed. You went into election, won the 4 seats. So they changed the tactic. It's as simple as that to me.
Okay.
You are the target. So you mean, I know you're an intelligent person. You are the target.
All right. Okay,
right, then.
Okay, caller.
I'm praying for you. You're not praying for everybody.
Thank you very much.
For all parties. Saying good night to Godwin Brown and his family down at Sheriff. These are my people down there, and all of the Freemans, the Jeffers, the Payne from Bat Village. Flaky, how you do? That's my family. God bless you.
Okay.
And God bless all individuals.
All right, good, and God bless you as well. I listened to the caller, and I think the exchange was useful. And the caller, you said I'm the target. I will tell you I've been the target since I entered politics. I don't know why. I believe sometimes that my mother and father gave me the wrong name, because in calling me Mark, it's such a common name, you know. Sometimes I think if I were called, I don't know, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, I think there was somebody called that name from Africa. You know, it was harder to pronounce. So, you know, it might have been a little harder for people to constantly call my name. Some people have my name like it's mouthwash. Every day, all days, Mark, Mark, Mark. I and all get fed up of hearing. That's why I said to my wife, just call me baby. Because, you know, this Mark thing is so common now. You know, I'm tired of hearing it. But that light moment aside, I have been the target. I don't know why people targeting me, because I'm strong like a lion. You understand? Because I'm clothed with the breastplate of righteousness. The Lord surrounds me. The Holy Spirit resides with me. And I thank God every morning. I wake up every night. I go to bed. I thank God, because the enemy has been out there against me. They have said all manner of evil against me, and here I stand today, stronger than ever. My margins grow every single election. My margins grow every single election. So for those who want to aim their bows and arrows at me, I suggest to them that perhaps they may want a different strategy. And so you're talking about target, you're talking about the opposition. The opposition will do what the opposition has to do. I'm not concerned about that. I am saying to you that nobody in unity or supporting unity or around unity who understands the basis of unity and how unity came about should have any concern about these issues, because unity was formed. The ethos and the basis and the foundation of unity was to resolve these issues of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have done good work. Let me emphasize that. You have Nevisians now represented on boards, having opportunities for scholarships, Nevisian ambassadors, things like that. Never happened before to the extent that they're happening now. As a matter of fact, I have commented publicly that it took over 30 years of independence before a Nevisian could be an ambassador for our country. Where were the people crying out over the years and saying that these things were unjust? Where was that? It took a unity government, and frankly, it took CCM being a part of unity to make those things a reality now. And I'm not going to shy away. Some people seem to have a view that because you're from Nevis, you must hush your mouth, take what you get, and be quiet. Well, that is not me, and I'm very sorry. Me now go shut me mouth and take what you get because I happen by accident to be born in Nevis as opposed to be born in St. Kitts. And we must confront these things. Why are people so afraid and offended when you speak the truth and you speak the obvious? Let us instead have the kind of public debate. Let us instead have the kind of reconciliation that the country needs if the country is to harness all of its resources. If the best person and the most qualified person is from Nevis, you shouldn't say, oh, he's from Nevis, so he shouldn't get the job. Equally, if the best and most qualified person is from St. Kitts, you mustn't say they mustn't get it because they're from St. Kitts. That is what I'm saying. There is nothing controversial about that. There's nothing in that somebody should make tape and send up and down. I understand after every show now, they're doing clips and sending around. Well, what happened? I have an English tongue in my head. I've been a lawyer for many, many years. I have now become a politician, and I'm not known to speak out of turn or to say things that I don't believe in and things that I'm not prepared to defend. I'm not going to tell you something privately that I'm not prepared to defend publicly as well. And so whoever wants to take clip and send clip around, that's their business. Because I'm elected by the people of Nevis to serve the people of Nevis and to advance their interests at every forum and in every possible opportunity. And I'm not going to be some to say lap your tail and pretend and what. No. No. If the shoe squeezing me, I'm going to say the shoe squeezing me. I won't be disrespectful about it. So maybe I don't bawl out and I won't use any expletive or bad language, but I will say the shoe squeezing. You understand? And nobody should be upset about that, because if people understood unity, and that's why I look on, sometimes, as I like to say, I'm amused and bemused. I see all kind of people come now and them are unity, them got as much to say. They got all kind of things. They are the big shots now, they call in the shots. And that is why tonight I put it on record that I drafted the Charleston Accord that was signed by Timothy Harris, Sean Richards and Vance Amry, representing PLP, PAM and CCM. Mark Brantley drafted it. That's important to know, because people must understand that they were architects of this thing called unity. And the reason for unity was to change the country, change the paradigm. And that journey, we must encourage that journey to continue. Excellent work has been done, but we must not rest on our laurels. We must continue the work so that we get to the country that we want, and that was envisaged when unity was formed. That is all that we are saying. What in that should people get upset about? Why should they be overly excited and start to talk about this and that and start to come with their bogus calls and callers to stations talking foolishness? Let us be mature and let us understand. And I don't know what leadership or what Nevision psyche or what Nevisions that people have been accustomed to in the past. But my name is Mark Brantley. Born in a little house on 4 stones in a place called Scarborough in Hanley's Road. Moved to Brownhill. Grew up, went initially to Chapel School, then the Gingerland Primary School, then Ivor Walters Primary, then called Prospect, then CSS, then Sixth Form. Was lucky enough to win a scholarship. Went first to New York and then went to Barbados. Left Barbados, went to Jamaica, graduated first in class, got a scholarship, went to Oxford. Came back home, because home is where I want to be, here on the island of Nevis. Worked hard, was blessed by God. I'm in a position now where I decided I want to contribute through politics, and I've been seeking to do the best I can. My life has been an open book. And whatever type of division that people have been accustomed to, I am not that type. I'm going to open my mouth and I'm going to talk where things are not what they ought to be. I'm not doing so to be destructive, I'm doing so to be constructive. I'm doing so to say, this is the dialogue we must have in the country. And we ought not to be upset with each other for that. Because when I take up my passport, it says St. Kitts and Nevis. Citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. When I go anywhere and they ask you where you're from, your country, St. Kitts and Nevis. And if that is to mean something, it must mean that all the people, from the mountains of Phillipses to the lowlands of Low Street, all the people of the country must be involved. Must be involved. And must each and every one of them be entitled to the full fruits of their citizenship, to get all the benefits that are available in the country, and equally to share the burden when that burden comes. Now, if that, ladies and gentlemen, is controversial, then I clearly am a very controversial individual. But I see no controversy in that. That, in fact, is what I would call trite, obvious, because it is. And nobody feels threatened because of that. The people of Nevis don't threaten anything. We don't threaten any status quo. The people of Nevis are saying that we are entitled to take our rightful place. That is all that we are saying. And that is why I'm appealing to the youngsters here. Let no man tell you what your ambition can be. Let no individual seek to dictate to you how high you can aspire. You see, tonight I spoke about young Dwayne and young Casey, and they're just 2 examples of a multitude of young people in this island who are doing wonderful things. Let nobody limit you. Let your only limits be your ambition and your capacity for hard work. And I feel very sincerely about that. And if I'm not remembered for anything else, ladies and gentlemen, let it be said that when the time came, I stood up on principle for the people of Nevis. I'm not going to resile from that. Isaiah elect me, no? Isaiah send me to represent you all. And how do I represent you all? By sitting down and being timid and... No, I represent you all by speaking to the issues that impact the people of Nevis. And as I said, I don't see any offense in that anybody should take. Because I expect Prime Minister Harris to speak to the issues of his good people in number 7. Wonderful people there in Tabernacle and Molyneux and those. I expect him to do so. That is who sent him, you know. Them are who sent him. I expect Lindsey Grant to speak to the good people and on behalf of the good people of number 4. Where Sean Richards get up all the time say SP is where the best be. Where I gonna vex with Sean for that? Can't vex with him. It's Sandy Point people send him to Parliament. When Akila get up and Akila say village and everybody say hippie hooray, that is why they send her. So why you vex if Mark get up and say Nevis? Huh? Well, who send me? Why you vex if Alexis get up and say St. James and St. Thomas's? Or Eric get up and say Gingerland? That's what I'm saying. Let us get away from all of this nonsense. And what opposition got to say has nothing to do with me, because the opposition had their time to speak to the electorate leading up to the 5th of June, and the people have said what they said. They didn't give NRP 1 seat in Nevis, and they gave Labour 2 in St. Kitts. one of which is in the court. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's done. People have spoken. No need to talk about opposition and what they're saying in terms of negativity. We'll have a chance again, God willing, in another 5 years. But the issues of representation and representing people that elected you, people not supposed to vex about that. Not supposed to be. And so this is perhaps part of the education that we have to continue to talk about and educate ourselves. Because it seems to me that some feel that some can say what they want to say, and that is all right. But the minute others speak up, something is wrong. Can't be like that, brothers and sisters. 20 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. We're taking your calls at 869-469-1616. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
You're on the mark, go ahead.
Yes. I remember some time ago on one of your shows, you identified the resource sharing as one of the main problems bedeviling the relationship between thinkers and leaders.
Yes.
And it seems obvious that that is still the case. Now, no one can fault you for standing up for leaders. I mean, after all, you're the premier of leaders. And I absolutely agree with you that Nivision should not accept any suggestion that they be relegated to second-class citizens in any area. My question, though, is, in all practical terms, no one can really say that living standards in Nevis are less than thinkers. In fact, I don't know the data, you may know it, but living standards in Nevis appear to be higher when you look at things like the housing and property ownership and that kind of thing. So really, what is the crux of the matter? If the Constitution says that revenue should be shared according to population size, what is inherently unfair about that? And why can't that be adhered to? Or are we missing something? I don't expect you to tell us your negotiating position.
Well, caller, the mere fact that we're talking about negotiating and all of these things is again part of the problem. One shouldn't have to negotiate. Who are you negotiating with? We're not talking about Jamaica and Antigua and St. Kitts Nevis, you know. St. Kitts Nevis are separated by 2 miles of water, but we are one country. And I think that the mere language that you've employed,
yes,
that
but if it's not set in stone, Mr. Brandt,
no.
Things are not set in stone.
Listen, we understand all that. We're not talking about constitution. We're not talking about what is set in stone. We're talking about attitudinal change, and that is difficult to achieve. Attitudinal change. That is always something that is more difficult because it can be invidious.
But why leave it to attitude? That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not leaving it. I'm not leaving it to anything. I'm simply saying that my discourse has to do with how do we change the perception? How do we get a young boy from Sandy Point to see himself as Kitishan and Nivision, not just as Kitishan? How do we get a young girl from Jessops to see herself as Nivision and Kitishan, not just Nivision?
But
that no constitution. I'm sorry.
Isn't the manifestation of that things like living standards? Whether they
caller living standard. Right? Caller. Let me just say a bit about history. Living standards is an indication of how well the people in a particular geographic area might be doing. It does not necessarily reflect anything to do with government, although government has an influence and an impact on government policy is relevant. Living standards in Nevis, for example, have traditionally been high because Nevis has pivoted itself with the coming of the Four Seasons to the higher end of the tourism industry. And so people make good salaries from that. Nevis has had a thriving financial services industry, again, which employs accountants and financial managers and people who make a decent salary. And as a result, therefore, you have had that level of housing stock and all of that you are speaking to in terms of standard of living. But the same Nevis that has that standard of living Nevisians have been going abroad and being educated for years. It took unity in 2015 to recognize that somebody born in Nevis could be an ambassador for the country for the first time in its history. So you see, it's not about standard of living, because standard of living is but one indication of where
I understand
where one stands in the
right?
country.
But remember too, talking about historically, the civil service in St. Kitts, for instance, was staffed by a lot of qualified Nevisians.
Well, I'm happy you
right? So what I'm saying, yes, I know that internationally that's another level. But what I'm saying, the classic case of discrimination or attitudes towards a marginalized people is that it is discriminated against in areas of jobs and that sort of thing. And can we really say that was the case between St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, that history, caller, one would have to look to. Because whilst you say that, also remember, if you will, that the system was designed as it was then to ensure that Nevis was denuded of its best and brightest. But caller, you're laughing. Caller, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. The same was true of Anguilla. Why? Because Nevis did not have any investment in the educational infrastructure, for example. So all the people like Van Samuel and Parry and them, where they had to go to school, to go to sixth form.
You're actually saying that it was a deliberate
let me finish. It will be for you to draw the conclusion. I'm simply saying to you what the facts were. The facts were that if one wanted to go to sixth form, one had to go to St. Kitts. The facts were that if one wanted a career in the civil service, one had to go to St. Kitts because Nevis had no civil service. If we are going to talk about our history, let us understand our history. Nevis only got a civil service with the advent of independence on the 19th of September 1983. Prior to that, if you wanted to be a civil servant, you had to go to St. Kitts. So whilst you point out correctly that there were many Nevisians in the civil service in St. Kitts, you must ask yourself, why was that so?
But they were not discriminated against. That's my point.
Caller,
they didn't say that, well, reserve the top echelons for Kittitians. Lots of the top positions went to Nevisians.
Well, I don't know what was reserved or what wasn't reserved. I'm simply saying that you had the country. Caller, just hear me out. I'm not saying what was designed or what was not designed. I'm simply saying that the country, whether by accident or otherwise, functioned in such a way that the best and the brightest either went abroad or they ended up in St. Kitts, because that was where the opportunity existed. And I believe the history of our two islands bears me out in that regard, right? So that was the position. We now are looking at a different construct, because Nevis now has its own sixth form, Nevis has developed, Nevis has its own internal government, etc. And so those examples of the past and whatever the push-pull factors were that led to them, that has changed. And I'm saying that evolution and unity, and I know from your calls in the past, you're not a supporter of unity, but unity has done more than any other government in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis to try and address some of those issues. But it would be wrong for us to say that the issues don't exist.
Yes, right. Nobody can say that. And worse, Mr. Premier,
yes,
is I listened to a replay of the talk show by Patches, and in it he was actually making the case that Nevis is not autonomous and that the Prime Minister has a right to do as he wishes, go anywhere in Nevis, irrespective of what the bypassing the Premier if necessary. And there's also this attempt to redefine what revenue is, right? Saying that it excludes the CBI, right? Revenue, he claimed, were from taxes, grants, and loans, right? In other words, they don't want to include the CBI. What you get, they're saying, is gratis. I mean, you heard Sylvian Henry's version that Nevis may actually owe St. Kitts, for instance, for expenses like the University of the West Indies and UN organizations and the like, right? So that is what, and while I don't expect you to release your negotiate, and that's why I use the term negotiating position, while I don't expect you to release that, the first shot was fired, and you must be aware of it.
Who fired the shot?
Well, it was on Patch's program. I mean, you don't get more official than that. He's an ambassador.
Patch's
right?
program is a government program?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know it to be so.
You listen to it, because I think it was. I listened to it. I didn't hear it live, but I listened to the replay of it. And when he says things like Nevis cannot be autonomous according to the Constitution, he was using the Constitution to basically says that the Prime Minister is paramount over Premier and everybody else. Okay.
Well, I sat in cabinet with Patches for some time. I never knew he was a constitutional scholar. But if that is the position and that he has a view, then he's a citizen now.
Well, it's probably more than a view, eh? So that is why
I don't know, and I think this is where I think that sometimes things get elevated, because anybody, and I mean anybody, Tutmon Samambagai, could have a view. Whether or not one then says that is an official view is a different story. So I am not going to get into whatever was said on whatever show. I have a show here myself, and certainly if I articulate something on my show, I am the Premier of Nevis. I am clothed with that authority.
Okay.
Right?
One last thing. Do you know? Are you privy to the income over the years from the CBI?
Well, we had some issues, of course, on that, because it was rather opaque when the SIDF, because remember the SIDF was set up as a separate entity.
Right.
But I believe that we've since seen the audited accounts for the SIDF. The SIDF has practically been wound up now. And so the new model seems to be that funds go into something called a Sustainable Growth Fund, which really is part of the consolidated fund. That is the way I see it, because
and that is no longer opaque.
Well, the numbers call.
Because you see
Well, listen, you asked me a question. The numbers, if you look at the budget documents over the past several years, the numbers are in the budget documents. So it is very clear.
So it's very easy then to determine what Nevis's share should be, you're saying?
Well, I am saying that the question you asked me was, are we aware of the figures? And I'm saying the figures are you can discern the figures because they are published in the annual accounts. Every year we go to the budget, the parliament with a budget. And so the figures are there.
So when, for instance, it's bandied about that you got $250 million from the federal government, that roughly works out to population size between the overall revenue.
I will answer you this way, caller. That I have found it interesting that the focus has been on how much Nevis has received. Nobody has yet asked the question, which I think is an important question. Well, how much has St. Kitts received?
That's what I was getting at.
Well, I'm happy you're getting at it, because as I said,
figures, because you can't talk about what Nevis should receive if you don't know the overall figures.
So now you understand that to my mind, if you're going to have a fulsome conversation, you must not just because, even over here in Nevis, you hear the opposition continue, Nevis get 200 million, Nevis get 200 million. Nobody's asking the germane and relevant question, well, how much was in the pot? Because if the pot had in 10 bowls of soup,
I was trying to get at.
If the pot has in 10 bowls of soup and you only get one, yes, you get a bowl of soup, but you have not gotten anywhere close to a fair share of the soup. So I think that if there's a debate, the debate has to be an open debate, and we look at the figures. And as I said, the work is ongoing. I believe that this government is genuine about its effort to resolve these issues, but the point I was
Well,
seeking to...
the whole thing, though, I mean, it's been 5 years.
Well, it has been 5 years, but let us also...
This would have been solved sometime ago.
Right. Well, I mean, I know from your calls before that your middle name should be Hurry Up, because you always say that things are taking too long. I appreciate that. But what I will say to you is that once the commitment is there, I think that these things will get done. And let us be fair, the 5 years we had all kinds of challenges. We have now entered this new term with COVID hanging over us. So we appreciate that there are difficulties, there are obstacles, but the commitment to get things done has to be there. And
and you must know the path. You must know the path, right?
Of course.
And I still say it should not be arbitrarily left to who's in power, whether Unity or whoever else.
Well, I mean,
it should be set in stone so that these things don't keep recurring.
Right.
That's the problem.
But all of that is part of the debate that has to be had. I'm simply saying that it appears to me that some people don't want the debate at all. And I'm saying, why not? And so there ought to be no anxiety or difficulty with persons having a frank discussion about these matters. And that is all I'm saying. We live in a democracy. And in a democracy, we ought not to push our heads in the sand like ostriches. We ought to be prepared to stand up and say, well, listen, here's my view. My view may not be the correct view, but here's my view nevertheless. I believe you have called in the show 100 times, and 99 times I have disagreed with you. But that doesn't mean your view is invalid. It is a maturity that we need in the country where we can discuss issues, even thorny and difficult issues, without offending and being offended by the views of others. That is the point that I'm trying to get to. But caller, thank you very much.
Okay. And at the point of sounding conceited, if the 99 times I called in, right, I was listened to and my advice was taken, I think we would have been in a better position.
Well, you do sound conceited, and Labour listen to you and they lose. So I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to just take the one.
Didn't listen to me. That's why they won.
All right. Thank you very much for your call. We have 3 minutes left. Do we have anybody holding? No, ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark. We're having a good discussion this evening. Just trying to reinforce the need for conversation. The public space. Let's respect each other, but there's no need for rancor. There's no need for people to be vexed with each other. I think that we need to have a conversation. And as I said, I'm not fussed about opposition and what opposition may say or may not say. That is a matter for the opposition. I believe that when people elect you to represent them, that it is a trust and confidence that has been reposed in you that you have to take seriously, that you have to treat with the level of seriousness that it demands. And I certainly take my role very seriously. When I exit stage left, I'm hopeful that those who come after me will equally take it very seriously. And that is what we must understand, that people elect us for what? Representation. Let me share a little anecdote in my 2 minutes left. I was asked by a young woman in Brownhill, I'm not going to call her name. She said, Mr. Brantley, I need a light outside my mother's house, a street light. And I immediately said to her, at the time, oh, that is not my ministry. Minister Alexis Jeffers, as he then was, is responsible for Nevlik. And I thought that I gave the young lady the perfect answer, because I can't call Nevlik and tell Nevlik anything about light. That is the minister, the line minister, is the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. The lady said to me, I never voted for Alexis Jeffers. I voted for you. You are my representative. She says, as a matter of fact, I never voted for any minister at all, because on the ballot paper I didn't see no minister. I saw somebody to represent me. So let me tell you again, I want a light outside my mother's house. And all I could say was, okay, ma'am, I will go and do the best I can to get that light outside your mother's house. I hope that people take sense out of what I'm saying, and that my anecdote will not go to waste, because sometimes we learn anecdotally. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. The band has struck up. It means we have to go. Good night to one and all. Let us go out and participate in our wellness activities, our week of activities. Let us walk. Let us get up, get out, and get moving. Let us on Sneaker Day. I'm ready. I want to tell all the people out there who I know are bringing their best for Sneaker Day that I'm ready. I got my sneakers delivered today, and things are looking up. I'm trying to win this year. Let us get involved. This is our Nevis. Let us continue to work together and develop our beautiful island. That's our show. Good night, and God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of